Hello, buddy. Welcome to another episode of Developer Small Talk. And it's been a while, but now we're in summer. It's very, very hot in Germany. And I've got a really exciting guest with me. And it is Anna. Hello, Anna.
Hi, Stefan.
How are you doing?
I'm doing pretty good. I'm enjoying the weather. It's like, it's my kind of thing.
Good to hear.
Yeah.
And
Gonna give you a short introduction of myself or something.
that would have been my next question. Who are you and why are we talking to each other right now?
Okay, so I have for the last 2.5 years or so, I've been one of the most active contributors to Node Core. And in particular, this year I implemented basic threading support, worker support for Node.js.
Nice.
This is what we're going to be talking about today, I guess.
Yeah. So let me just quickly share my screen and then let's have a look how what I saw. You see yourself?
I see myself.
So we're basically talking today because I saw this pull request,
Exactly.
which was merged. When was it merged?
Sometime in June, I think.
Nice. All right. And it has in the headline worker, initial implementation.
Right, exactly.
So
That's what it is.
can you tell me what is a worker in Node?
So the idea is similar to what it is in the browser. It's a separate thread where it's basically a completely different instance of Node within the same process that runs in parallel to the main loop, main thread. And unlike in browsers where in web workers, you only have a very limited API, partly for security reasons. In Node.js, you have basically the full Node.js API available in workers too. You can basically spawn a new thread that runs in parallel, and it can do the exact same things that the main thread that any other Node.js program that you already have can do.
Cool. And the first question that came to my mind, how is a worker different from just spawning a child process?
So it's not all that different.
Okay. Good. Good.
I mean, you can still do the same things in essence. Something that is definitely different is that with ECMAScript 6 and above, you have shared array buffers and you have atomic, so you can actually share memory between those threads. And since the main use case for workers is high CPU, like CPU intense programs, that is something that some programs can leverage, like actually having a really, really fast way to communicate with each other.
Cool. But with child processes, it was not possible to share some memory stuff or values between the processes easily. Is that right?
You could implement something like this in terms of processes.
Yeah.
It gets kind of icky because you can share memory between processes in general, but it's hard to do it in a way that works cross-platform and gives you the same behavior everywhere.
Oh, I can imagine.
You basically have to implement it for each platform. Kind of painful. It also so we're not quite there yet, but the hope is also that workers will have a quicker startup time.
Yeah.
And
Sounds good. Sounds cool. Are you up for implementing a quick worker with me?
Sure. Yeah, let's do that.
All right. So you still see my screen, and I've got this little script here, which is basically requiring the HTTP module, and then it's creating a server, and it's just responding incoming request with a timestamp, And then there's this other thing hanging around here, which might not make that much sense, but this is definitely some computation that is going on the side. So, and I have the problem that when I now start this, that basically the logic is very, very easy from the server side, right? It's just responding something. But I already see that when I hit the server, that it actually takes some time here. And it takes actually very, very long because my computer is getting hot. So let's let's put that a little bit down here. And let's restart the thing so that we see at least the response. Come on, you can do it. What? Okay, we definitely have to put the number down. So
yeah.
All right. So here we see that there's a timestamp, but for the logic that is in here, this shouldn't take that long, right?
Right. Should be.
So how can I keep this really smart computation here, but get the response times of the server down?
Right. That is use case for workers, like having some very, very CPU intensive part of your program that that should not block your other work from happening.
Okay.
That's what it's there for.
And I have the documentation already open here. And we see this is how I get a worker here, right?
Yes, exactly.
All right, so let's try that out. And now, surprise.
Yeah. So because the workers are still experimental, and what we do for experimental features in the beginning is that we require users to actually say, yes, I want this experimental features, and I'm okay with like having breaking changes happen to me and everything.
Mm-hmm.
So you have to pass in the flag node -- experimental worker.
Do you have any idea when you move it out of that?
Not really. It's probably going to take a while. In part, it's like one of the things about workers is that unlike a lot of other experimental features, has not gotten that much feedback so far, like not a lot of bug reports, not a lot of feature requests or anything, which is either a sign that people are like just like happy with the way it is there, or that people aren't actually using it. So yeah, we'll definitely have to put more work into outreach on getting feedback on the API. Yeah.
What is the way to provide feedback? Is it just GitHub issues or?
I mean, you can open GitHub issues and like tell us what you think about it. You can also just like tell people like core developers what you think about it.
Okay.
Unless you have some specific issue, in that case, you should always open an issue.
Makes sense, but the main communication runs through GitHub as usual.
Yeah, usually.
Cool. All right, so now I have a worker here, and I'm already lost. What is next? How do I approach writing a worker?
So if you like look at the documentation, you will see that it starts with an example. And there are a couple ways you can do this. One way is that so you can either have like separate files for the worker and for the main thread, like you would do in a browser.
Yeah.
You can do it the way it is presented here in this example, where you actually, if you look at the 8th line or so, you'll see it's new worker __ file name.
Yep.
So it actually passes in the name of the current file. And you can use the is main thread flag to tell whether you are inside the worker or not.
I like that approach. For now, I think that's fine. All right, so what we can do is we can probably just copy this buddy here, and we go. Why is there parent port? What do I need a port for?
So I mean, for the most. you usually don't have like this single block of data that you want your worker to work on and then it's done, because the more common use case will be that you actually have to pass jobs and pass an information between the different threads. Parent part is an instance of a message part, which like the same thing exists in browser. Basically has a on message event and a post message function method. So it's a communication channel between the different threads.
Okay, I see. But for now, we don't need the parent part. Is that right?
Like in your example, no, you don't, because like, your computation is pretty simple and very much independent from the rest of it.
All right, got it. So, and now that we have is that a method or, okay, it's a Boolean, is main thread. We can move this little snippet in here already, right? And this goes into else. So let me just add some logging here because, okay, so console log, I'm the main thread. What is the word when it's not the main thread? Side thread?
I usually call it worker thread.
Yeah, that makes total sense.
You can call it whatever you want.
Worker thread. Cool. But this doesn't... Okay, now we've got a Boolean. This will probably be true. And when I now start that, nothing is... Oh. Server is not defined.
Right. At the bottom of your script.
Yeah. So let's move this one in here. Oops. All right. Now we're in the main thread. And this basically means that my server should now be very, very fast because it's not doing the computation. Is that right?
I hope so.
Yeah, looks already better. Okay, but how can we... Yeah, so it's right now just logging that we receive requests. Cool. How do I kick this off now?
Well, I would suggest just going back to the example in the documentation, where you can see where the worker started. And like it's... yeah, const worker equals new worker. That is the interesting part. And you only need the first argument, which is the file name.
Okay. So let's give it a try. So in here, I can now do this. Where's the script coming from?
That is like part of the example, part of the...
right. So we can drop this for now. Cool. But that's not it, right?
I mean, like, this is enough.
All right. Oh, it's like it's executing the same file now. Oh, I see. Oh.
Yeah, this should be enough to make everything work.
Okay.
Okay. The worker threads assigned. That's good.
Where's the... I've got some logging. No, I don't have logging going on, but let's... So log computation done. Where's the logging going in a work? Oh! Huh. That's handy.
I guess you have your answer.
Interesting.
Yeah. So console.log and anything else that accesses like the standard I/O streams, by default it redirects to the parent thread's standard I/O. But you can intercept that if you want, or if you need to.
Is that the same when I go with child processes? That's not the default behavior, right? Then it's a little bit trickier to get console logs. Is that right?
I don't know what the default behavior is off the top of my head, but you can definitely, you always have the option of inheriting stdio, which means just pass it wherever the parent would pass it to. you can use pipe, which means intercept everything and read it as a screen. And you can ignore, which means it's basically not available.
Okay, cool. But I have used web workers in the past in the browser. So the idea is that this part communicates with this part, right? Usually via messaging or something.
Right, exactly.
All right, so how we do this? So there would be probably, let's cheat with the example again. All right.
It doesn't actually, oh yeah. Yeah.
Does that do the trick? Yeah, probably.
It does not have an example for like passing data from the parent to the worker thread, but we can figure that out if we want to.
Oh yeah, that's fun. All right, so this is a function here, right? So I can probably do this and then say, I get something like a message, maybe?
Yes, you do.
Console log message. How do I send this from here then?
So this is where the parent part that you deleted earlier comes into play.
Aha!
That is your way to send messages to the parent part.
Nice. So I could now go parent port. Is the autocorrection correct here? No.
No. You want
What is it? It's post message.
it's last line of the example, yeah.
Cool. So what can I send here? Anything I want?
You can definitely try to send anything you want. Basically, anything that you can also share between web workers.
Mm-hmm.
So,
web workers had the problem that I had to parse objects when I'm passing them along. Is that the same thing here?
You don't really have to parse things. So you can just like send objects, and even circular ones are type arrays. Yeah, like there are some fancier things you can do. Like I said, you can actually use this method to share memory or transfer memory between threads. You can even send other message parts, which like allow for fancier communication, whatever you want to use that for.
Okay, so let's just quickly have a look here. So.
Okay.
I was completely expecting that I have to parse strings here. That's super nice.
No. You can even send like circular data, like it's not restricted to JSON, which the IPC that we have for child processes is. So it's more powerful than that.
Okay. Can you maybe quickly explain what circular data is? That is something that hit me once. When it hit me for the first time, I was like, what is this? What's going on? It's hard to debug, and JSON stringify explodes at some point.
Sorry, can you like rephrase the first part of your question? I didn't quite get
that. When do you hit, or when do you come across a circular data? Or in the front-end JavaScript world, every now and then I come across that, but is there in Node, are there certain occasions where I run into circular data? Or is that completely depending on myself?
I don't think it's like specific to Node or anything, but you will every now and then have use cases where that happens. I don't know, for example, like if you have some graph that you want to represent with JavaScript objects and you have edges between the things, and like now you have, like if you have the graph that where from one node you can go to the neighbor and you can go back, then you already have a circular data structure.
Yeah.
So yeah.
You're right. Cool. But this now means that I actually, when I run this, I see my object again, right? Nice. Does that now mean that when I look, for example, here, that I see two node processes?
It should show more threads than before.
Here we go.
So like Node does have the number of background threads for other stuff, like offloading libuv work, or for example, zlib work is offloaded to one of the libuv threads. And
Okay.
there's some more for V8, so like for compiling scripts in the background, or running package collection in the background. But yeah.
So this means when I comment everything out, there should be a 6. Is that correct?
I think so, yeah.
Let's hope.
I feel like the part that you want to comment out is that, yeah.
All right, let's see. Oops. Yeah! Nice! Super cool. All right, cool. So what else is there in the documentation? What I should know? So we had this main thread. I think this is super cool. When do I need the thread ID?
Well, you usually don't, but like sometimes you just want to have. It's like the most important use case would probably be logging, where you want to, understand which thread is doing the console that you're looking at right now.
Yeah, that can become very, very complicated when there are multiple workers running in the same time, huh?
Right. Yeah. It's just small util to give you an overview.
Yeah. Can you report? Cool. I think this this was actually pretty. Oh, what's the online event?
It's the same thing as it is for cluster for the existing API for this for child process. It basically just means that the worker thread is ready to start executing code.
Can I stop a worker at some point?
Yes, you can. You can call worker.terminate and
so we could.
well, that should work. Yes.
Oh, nice. And that's it.
Yes.
Looks good. Nice.
That is definitely something that also makes this experimental, because like worker.terminate does a pretty abrupt, like stop the worker right now kind of thing. And like a lot of nodes internals were not written with this kind of abrupt stopping in mind. So like it'll take a while to refactor all of that and make sure it will not crash your process.
Got it. Is there any way to kind of see what workers I already initialized or that are hanging around? I'm just imagining a code base of, I don't know, 100 Node.js files, and every file is spawning node workers. Is there a way for me to just list them all or something?
There is not, and what you described, you probably don't actually want to do. You don't.
Yeah, what I want to do and what I will do, maybe.
Yeah. If you need a lot of workers, you like spawn like 4 or 8 maybe, and you use post message to hand tasks to them.
Got
it. Because like once you're having more threads running than your CPU can handle, like more than you have CPU cores, it's just gonna affect your performance negatively, which is not where you're using workers in the first place, right?
Cool. But yeah, I think that was really straightforward. I'm kind of, that's it, I think. But workers for the future, I mean, especially in the front-end world, all the tooling depends on Node. Do workers now mean in the future that we could see a performance boost in something, I don't know, in Webpack or something?
I mean, like those kinds of applications are something that should probably use workers when they like. I mean, like I think some of them already use child processes to like basically achieve this, right?
Mm-hmm.
And well, whether workers are actually the better thing for them to do or not is something that they will have to figure out. I mean, some processes aren't bad, it's not like they're going away anytime. And it does still come with advantages. Like you can, I guess debugging is easier. Especially if you like dealing with crashes or whatever. Workers are mainly there if you like actually need a lot of communication between the threads. I don't know if Webpack or so needs that.
Understand. How long did it take you to implement workers in Node?
So I mean, like this project has been going on for a while. I don't know if you remember, but like nearly a year ago or so, there was a fork of Node.js called IO.
Yeah.
And that is where the initial implementation for this came from. And I guess we spent something around like a month or so working on that back then. And then like the PR that you had open there or still have open in your browser, that also like took a month or so to get through. So yeah, it's quite a bit of work that went into this.
And it's also a lot of C++ code and stuff, yeah?
Yeah, definitely.
Scary code.
Because like this is something that you just cannot implement in pure JavaScript. So
I see. Yeah, but cool. I think this is it already.
Yeah,
what do you think? Cool. Anything else you maybe want to share, or for people that have questions or anything?
So I mean, if people have questions, they can like open issues. We have a Node.js/help repository if you're actually just asking questions, not reporting issues or anything.
I didn't even know that.
We do have that. If you have questions regarding workers, you can also just like ask me about it. That's also totally fine. We're definitely looking for feedback on the API, feedback on how this works for people who play around with workers. Yeah.
How can people ask you questions?
Twitter works fine. I'm on IRC. I guess like I'm not going to try to like spell out my handle here, but like I guess wherever you publish this, you're going to link that. So.
Okay. Cool. Yeah, I think that's it. And I really want to thank you so much for taking the 25 or 20 minutes of your time. And I will now implement workers everywhere.
Cool, yeah.
Thank you very much then, Anna.